Congrats on rising star of the year, TikTok. That is insane.
Yeah, it was a bit of a shock. I thought the email was a scam, to be honest. I was like, what's going on? It's definitely changed the way I edit a lot of my videos. Sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse, I guess.
What does that mean?
It's like the whole hook thing that I just became obsessed with. And obviously it's not all about numbers and stuff, but it kind of is.
What makes a good travel film?
Lighting.
This is such a DOP answer. You know what I mean? As someone who is behind the camera a lot as a DOP, was it tough to be in front of the camera when the first couple times?
Yeah. It's like the hardest thing ever. And
You're like weird shit.
That's even without like talking. That's just because I love light.
Yeah. I love light. That's gonna be the title of this YouTube video. He loves light, and that's it. Oh. Welcome to episode 3 of Beyond the Cut. Today we're talking with George Harper, who goes by George the DOP. He is the Rising Star Creator of 2024, and he won it at the UK TikTok Awards, which is crazy. And you know what else is crazy? He is actually one of the first people to really support my content on TikTok when I started about a year ago. So full circle, this has been an honor to get him on here. And I want to thank him. And I also want to thank the sponsors of the whole Beyond the Cut season, which is Uppbeat. But more on that later on in the episode. Let's get to it. Congrats on rising star of the year, TikTok. That is insane. Oh my gosh. Can you walk me through that? Because you started 2 years ago, right? 2022, November.
Yeah.
I think was like your first post or whatever. Yeah, can you walk me through that?
Yeah, it was a bit of a shock. I thought the email was a scam, to be honest. Like, I was like, what's going on?
Did you have to check the email? You like had to type it in. You're like,
because I feel like I get a lot of like TikTok spam emails. You got to be careful, you know, what links you click on these days. But that was legit. Accepted my nomination. And to be honest, I didn't think I was going to win, really. I was pretty on it, though. I did like push to get votes because it was daily votes over 2 weeks. So made a few videos to promote it and just kept asking my friends, all my group chats, reminding them every day.
Yeah, just to do it.
And then like the event itself was mad. It was like red carpet. And yeah, there's a lot of people there. So I didn't prepare a speech. I didn't.
I watched it because I watched like as I'm doing research for your stuff, I'm like watching the videos, and you know, it's a classic. Like you know, you don't think you're gonna win because like when it hurts more when you think you're gonna win and you don't. So you're like, you know what? I'm here for the experience.
Yeah.
And then when you finally win, you're like, man, maybe I should have prepared something. Or, you know, because you're up there, you're like, I forgot to thank whoever. Damn, that's insane. How long have you been doing videos for?
I think I've been freelance for about 7 years. Obviously they're working in music videos and lifestyle and branded fashion content and stuff. And then I've always just filmed my trips for the love of it, really. And then decided to start posting on TikTok. I found like a really nice community on there, and it was quite inspiring, and just wanted me to keep going with it, and I'm glad I did.
What was the catalyst for you to start going on TikTok?
I wasn't really getting anywhere with Instagram. I wasn't really trying hard enough to like get anywhere with Instagram anyway. After posting a couple of videos and getting a good reaction, I realized how the algorithm works. And I guess once you figure that out, it's definitely changed the way I edit a lot of my videos. Sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse, I guess, because it's just trying to capture people's attention, isn't it? But it became a bit of a game.
What does that mean?
It's like the whole hook thing that I just became obsessed with, and just trying to figure out ways to draw people in, you know, using sound and fast cuts, and you're just more likely to stay and watch the rest of the video. Like, that's the bottom line, isn't it? And it is down to watch time and engagement, isn't it, that pushes your work out there. And obviously it's not all about numbers and stuff, but it kind of is.
It's not, but it is. And don't you find it, because you've been doing it for 7 years and this stuff really wasn't around, I would say, not like the obsession with hook and like average view duration and stuff. For people like us who've been doing it for a while, it's such a new thing. And sometimes it sucks too, no? Like, you do everything, you almost replicate what you did before. You had a hit, you did almost the same thing, and then you're like, okay, it's not the same numbers. I'm getting whatever. You're a DOP, which you work in crews. Like a lot of these creators and filmmakers, they're just kind of by themselves. So you're almost coming from like this traditional space, or you still do that traditional space, and then you're coming onto here. Was that tough?
With what I make, because it's travel, it's just out in the world, isn't it? And it's like using what you have. I guess a lot of it comes from, I took a lot of experience from my previous work, which obviously helps. But yeah, it's just a different way of working, and it doesn't feel like work. That's why I enjoy doing it.
Do you love being on set more, or is it just different? It's just a nice change of pace.
It's just different, and it can be stressful, and it's super long days, and it's hard work. It's hard work.
Actually, okay, before we get into like the whole travel stuff, can you talk about being a DOP real quick? Like what?
Well, I did.
What
I
is
kind of. I have kind of stepped away from it a bit because of that. I moved out of London. Like I built a good network in London, and like the occasional shoot every now and then I'll go up there and I'll do a shoot with a crew and stuff like that. But this stuff is just I've kind of prioritized this, which I feel like you kind of have to choose depending on, what you want to get out of one or the other. It's just nice to have a balance for me.
What makes a good travel film?
Lighting.
That's such a DOP answer. You know what I mean? That's such a, because usually people are like, yeah, it's the place, the people, the culture. And you're like,
It is
lighting. yeah. No, I got you.
it is everything, and it depends on what type of video you want to make. Because a lot of my videos are like, I'll just go out and shoot them, and try and find the most beautiful shots I can, and then I'll put it together in a way which I think works. There's lots of different ways you can make travel films. You can focus on people, you can focus on sounds, architecture. Like the process of actually shooting it, I don't put too much pressure on myself. Like I have shots in mind kind of that I want to go for, but I just enjoy kind of freestyling it a little bit and then playing around in the edit as well.
Do you have like a shot list when you're going out and traveling roughly, or are you just like literally freestyling? You're like, all right, whatever it takes me.
Yeah, I have started to do that more because I want to incorporate shots of myself more. When I started doing that, I realized like, wait a minute, I can like do more here. I can create more of a story. I can make a sequence of myself, and that can lead into different scenarios and stuff, which has definitely changed my work. I like seeing the person who's making the video sometimes, like,
yeah.
Otherwise it's just purely just like an advert for a place in a way. So yeah, I have started taking pre-production a bit more seriously because it is important. It is important.
It is, especially when, especially I watch your videos and then you start to incorporate other videos that you've done. And I think when you try to do like certain techniques or match cuts or different places, so you kind of just remember certain shots that you've done before, and then you're like, oh, maybe this kind of connects. As someone who is behind the camera a lot as a DOP, was it tough to be in front of the camera when the first couple times?
Yeah. It's like the hardest thing ever. And
you're like weird shit.
That's even without like talking, like just trying to like,
that's a whole other thing. Yeah.
Get some sort of like, be relaxed and get some sort of emotion, like depending on the scene, whether it's like moody.
Yeah. Or it's like a bit of acting too, isn't it? Like kind of weird. And then you look at yourself, you're like, man, I look stupid. Like, but then people are like, they love it. And you're like, all right, I guess.
Yeah,
I hate the way I sound. I don't know about you. Like I hate talking.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, it's the worst.
But you get used to it, don't you? It's something that I'm like really pushing to try. I've been trying to get better at talking to the camera because I think it can open up a lot more opportunities of what content you can make. But you don't want to be coming across as awkward because it just doesn't.
Or fake.
Yeah.
When you shoot these travel films, are you using a gimbal?
Not very often.
Wow. Because a lot of the shots I'm like watching, I'm like, this is smooth as shit. I was like, you know what I mean? I'm like, dude, especially the ones where you're like going through the buildings and the architecture.
Yeah, so
Or like
like
certain
those
things.
those ones like in the Barcelona edit you might be referring to, like that was a I was a gimbal. I went on a proper gimbal mission just because it like those alleyways, man. Like
You could definitely tell it looks smooth. And is it a choice now to not bring it? Are you like, this is way too, I'm traveling, this is way too much? Or are you just like,
I take it every time, and now I just don't use it. I pretty much don't use it every time. It's just more stuff, and you don't want to take loads of stuff, and then you're like debating if you should go on the gimbal or
yeah, yeah.
you don't like just thinking about everything you could do rather than just like doing it. I try not to use it, and I just enjoy handheld anyway. And my shots are quite static. It's more what's in the frame and the composition and the light and what's happening. But if something is like those alleyways in that Barcelona video, like that deserved a gimbal to go through there because it's a pretty crazy place.
That in your Mexico video in the library. That had to be a
Yeah.
vortex shot,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because I was like, there's no
I
way you're
think-
walking like this.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
think that is the only time I used my gimbal in Mexico. I went to that library and I was like, I got permission to shoot in there for a start. So then I was like, right, the gimbal's coming out now, and I can just run around like a madman.
Did you ask them for permission? Like,
Yeah,
did you go
yeah.
in and you're like, I gotta go back and get my gimbal right now? Is that what is that what happened, or did you have it with you?
No,
and you're
I took it there because
Oh,
I
go.
think I like looked it up and I heard that you could get permission, and then I had to get like a badge and stuff just so that people wouldn't bother me.
Like a
but-
proper. You were like had a pass.
Yeah, like check my ID and stuff and check my bag, and then just went on the gimbal and just ran round. That place was nuts. I'm so
Yeah.
glad I got to do that.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna ask about that in like some of the video breakdown stuff.
Cool.
Because when I saw it, I was like, this is insane. It looks like Inception. Like I've never seen it. I had to look it up. I was like, where? Like, what is this? And I saw pictures. I was like, oh, this is crazy. This is actually crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Does the environment dictate some of the color grade that you do when you do it?
Yeah, 100%. I think. Well, the environment is in.
I guess just walk me through your color grade. Like, how do you actually, when you sit down, are you working with the shadows first? Are you looking at certain things, or like, what's the most dominant color in this? And let me start on that first.
Yeah. So I have a habit of like making it really green. Not really, but not like green. Like push it around so that it balances out. But then you get like this kind of it's kind of like a cinematic kind of like, I don't know how to describe it, but you can tell it's not neutral. It has like some different tints in there, but it still feels balanced. But yeah, it's kind of just like pushing and pulling the color wheels around. And then obviously like my style's become a bit less filmic. I used to just whack so much grain and halation and everything on there and just hope for the best. But sometimes you want it to be like, you might want it to be a bit sharper depending on, what you're shooting.
Yeah, you watch it and you're like, why is this, especially on a big screen, or like, you edit for so long and then the next morning you look at it, you're like, why does this look like this? What the hell did I do?
Yeah.
How do you find like the mood? How do you find the mood of your travel films?
If I'm in a place, and depending on how long I'm there for, what the weather's going to be like, what times of the day I can shoot, that's probably what's going to start to set the mood. If you're starting like golden hour into the night and you're in a city, it's going to be a lot different to if you're in the middle of the day, like out on a mountain or in nature and stuff. I always just aim for that time of day, that sweet spot where you can then kind of choose which way you want to go. Like some stuff I've done when I've gone hiking or like out to mountains and stuff, like early morning, that like proper, like it's almost dark when you start shooting.
Yeah,
And you're like, and it's cold and it's wet out, and you're like, this one's gonna be moody. Like,
yeah. It's not gonna be happy because
yeah,
I'm
but
not
then-
happy.
Yeah, and you don't know whether the weather is gonna turn, or it's gonna, come out and be nice and sunny, and then it ends on a, But that's kind of the beauty of it, isn't it? Like you can't control it.
How often does the music dictate, like help with that after?
Yeah, I try and find music before.
Oh,
But
okay. You wanna. I've been asking this question with a lot of
It's
creators.
so
I'm like, do you do
hard.
music before or do you do it after?
Yeah.
So you're like a before person and
If-
and then like a rough idea.
If I could find it before, I'd do it every time. But I just have so many issues with not being able to use the music when you post it and finding tracks that you can actually use, because TikTok have like clamped down on copyright and stuff
It's
like
like you
that.
can't use over a minute or like it's gotta be
over a
chopped,
minute. A lot of the time I am like scrambling around trying to find stuff after. But that's the whole thing with like the trending audio. Like I was so against it for so long. I never really wanted to jump on any trends and stuff. And then I kind of played around with it and it seemed to work. I think there just needs to be like a balance. Like sometimes use those classic tracks that you hear all the time, because people like enjoy the music, so that they might hang around for it. But then finding your own music it's just cooler, isn't it? There's nothing better than when you find a track that like no one knows about, and then the comments just like, what's this song?
Yeah. So if you don't want to run into any copyright issues, I actually got the perfect solution for you. Uppbeat. They're actually the sponsors of this episode and the whole Beyond the Cut season. They have thousands of tracks you could choose from. My personal favorites are the Lo-Fi and Chill playlist, but they have something for every single creator. You can actually sign up for free with the link in my description or the pinned comment. I also want to congratulate another winner for the Uppbeat competition I held, which is the IV10. Congratulations on winning the free premium Uppbeat subscription for a year. If you guys want to check out my breakdown to her video, follow me on TikTok and Instagram and you'll see it there. All right, back to the episode. We're talking about light earlier. When I was like, what makes a good travel film? You said light. Are you looking for light when you go out? Are you like, oh man, this is gonna hit right here, this is looking good, and then you're just going for that?
I wouldn't say I'm like looking for like specifically like that, the direction of which the sun is coming from, because I can't like recce these places usually. And it doesn't matter that much to me, unless you're shooting like, a sunrise or a sunset of like a landscape, which obviously is going to be important. I found myself in some cities like in the middle of the day, like maybe if I'm there for a job or I'm like kind of passing through and I'm like, oh, I'd love to just like smash a video out. But if the light's not there, I don't enjoy it as much. And sometimes it can just feel a bit flat, because I know if I'm getting a shot in the middle of the day, which like is a good shot, but if I was getting it at like, golden hour, it's just automatically better, which like I've kind of fallen into a bit of a trap with that, and I need to, there's ways around it, but that's just because I love light.
Yeah. I love light. That's gonna be the title of this YouTube video. He loves light, and that's it. Oh. What are some of the workarounds that you're thinking of, like you could get to? Are you?
Just you got, it's down more to composition and trying to find like cool subjects, and then just like camera movement, any little thing you can do to make up for the lack of light.
The use of the clone effect in your videos. Sometimes it's like so fast, but I find that it works so well, and I haven't seen anyone use it that fast, because sometimes it's like you in a corner of the frame and you're just like walking by. And a lot of the times I was like watching and I'm like, was that him or was that someone else? So I'm like going back. Dude, you just see me. I'm going back so many times. I'm like, and then now in every video I'm watching of yours, there was like this person with a dog. I think it was in your Snowdonia video, like by the mountain. And I was looking at someone in the back and I was like, oh no, that's him. And I was like, no, that's not him. I was like, I'm getting tricked. Bro, I don't know if it's a tactic or if it's like, if it's something that you're doing. I had to ask. I was like, I gotta ask him why he does this, because it's not so obvious, which is something that I like. Sometimes it's just like, I think in Mexico too, you had you and then it was you walking, but it was like not even, you're at the end of the frame. I'm like, I'm tripping out. I'm like, is this him or not? Is this someone that looks like him? I'm like, yeah. So like, was that choice that you make? Or you like, I hate rotoscoping. Let me just do like 2 frames of this and I'm out.
Yeah. If I'm getting like a tripod shot and I'm in it, I'll always just go. I'll be walking around all over the place, just thinking like I might want to use that later. And I like that shot that you're talking about when I came just like really quickly around the camera, because it is like kind of trippy. It's like, what?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
almost pointless, but I was just like,
Nah, it
adds
works.
something. It adds something, doesn't it?
I was scrolling over that part for so many times. I was like, why do you do this? It's like, I gotta ask him, man, because I was like, no one does this. I was like, it's like 3 frames. Whoa. It's like, it's 3 frames. No, but I liked it because I think you should continue to do that because it has a different feel in terms of like, you're not trying to be so obvious where like, obviously it's like people have certain shots and you see it all the time. It's like there's multiples of them. But those little moments where it's like sometimes it's just like half your face and you're just walking out. I don't know. It just adds so much to it. That's a little different.
I like using it because I think it's like a lot of it's like me on a solo mission. So it's like I'm kind of going somewhere with myself. So it's kind of like I'm not hanging around with myself, but like there's 2 of me kind of on this like exploring, and then but one person is the star of the show, I guess, and then the other guy is just kind of sometimes there.
I just wanted to jump in and say, please subscribe if you guys are enjoying this content. Let's get to the video breakdowns. We're going to go back. And I know you're probably going to be like, man, why are we looking at my old stuff? It's funny when I bring up people's content and they're like, we have to watch this old. Like, you got to ask me about some of this old stuff. And I'm like, I still enjoy it.
God, this is old.
Yeah,
This is my first first video on my remix.
I knew you were going to say it. There's one tracking shot. This is what the gimbal stuff I was asking about, but these tracking shots was just this person. Do you remember why you did it? Was there a reason or were you just like,
Well, I wanted to get a shot of Trevi Fountain, but as you can see, there's like 100 people around it. So
were you not trying to do that?
Well, I thought, how can I get it in? And it's a busy crowd, isn't it? So it always looks cool when you can pick like one person out and track them like through a crowd. This looks soft to me. My focus was probably, it looks like it's on the fountain, but
or like on this person, But see, like you don't really. I wasn't gonna point it out, but you don't really notice just because of the movement.
Yeah,
and like it's cool because you get like the foreground, like you said. There's like so many layers of people. I just have to ask.
It was nice to go back to that video. To be fair, I've not seen it for ages.
This light streak. Were you sitting here? You saw that that's how it looked, and then you're like, let me wait for this person and then catch them.
Yeah. I just sat in that tunnel just waited for someone. I realized that I was getting quite a nice flare from it, which like if you just, you go into the shadow and then really slowly, because it does go a little bit blown out, but if you just catch it at that perfect kind of amount of movement.
I guess this is what you mean when you're like looking for light.
You got a good eye, man. You're very observant. Like you see things that like I don't think people will even like clock,
These are what I'm talking about. For anyone who's watching this is the first video where I was like, okay, hold on. I just thought you were with someone at first. So it's stuff like that is what I'm talking about. So when you're doing these, are you setting it up, you get this shot, and then after you're like, let me just walk a couple routes?
For this one, that was literally me walking back to cut the camera. That's why I'm so close to it. And I'm not sure what the tripod's on. It could have, if it was on grass. Sometimes, it might move when you go back to cut it because I'm walking so close to the tripod. I think it just didn't move at all. So I was like, right. And I'm like a little bit out of focus. And because it's in 25 frames, I have like, there's quite a lot of motion blur because I'm quite close to the camera.
Because there are parts like this and the stuff like this.
I'm not sure if this was intentional. Oh no, I just made a cup of tea. But then I wasn't actually going to do this, but then I realized I could have the sound of the tea pouring. So yeah, it's just an excuse really to add some more sound in.
Is that where like a lot of the fun comes in for you too? Like editing? Like when you're like, oh, I could do this.
Yeah, definitely. I think I started out loving editing more. I was more of an editor than a shooter to begin with. So yeah, and I still enjoy it today.
So like, yeah, a place like this, when you start to color grade, this is like a lot more blue. Is it just because the environment and the vibe you're going for?
Yeah, I pushed it super cold because it was freezing as well.
Yeah, it looks cold as
and it was yeah, we went up there for sunrise. We wanted to get to the summit, but it was so dangerous. Probably shouldn't have been up there. That's why we're the only people up there.
Yeah, we talked about the vortex shots. And just in buildings in general, when you travel, I noticed that you do like a lot of the architecture. Is there a reason, and like, is it just because you're into architecture? Are you like looking for lines? What's the idea?
Like, it depends, because like in the Barcelona video, there are just some nice shots of like some buildings. But like when you go somewhere and you don't just want to shoot all the classic famous spots, I don't think. You want to see like other parts of a place that you find just by exploring it. I walked around Mexico City for like hours and hours and hours, walking towards famous landmarks, but not like I wasn't really going there to shoot them. Yeah, but with stuff like this, it's just all about the symmetry and just trying to find really cool angles, which wasn't hard in this.
Dude,
in this
I feel like
library.
every shot like just beautiful. And the way the lights coming in too.
Yeah, the lighting
like
was crazy.
Perfect. What time of day was this? It's got to be like right before noon.
Yeah, it was just in the middle of the day. It might have been about like 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
And you're getting some really nice pools of light on the floor, which I think come in like later on.
Because even like the streaks here make it, I like those little details, you know?
Yeah.
Was this an instant vortex? You saw it and you're like, I gotta do it this way.
Yeah, I got a mix. I got like a bit of everything. I was sweating during this shoot. I was like,
why were you sweating?
I was just running around like mad, just trying to get as much like different stuff as I could. And because it was the first time I'd been on the gimbal on my trip, like I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
So I was just like FPV, like 360 roll. Like I was just doing like every angle I could think of.
You're like,
it was fun.
Joy, what the mood? That's amazing. Yeah, you definitely be sweating because sometimes doing that, and like, look at this. It's like a movie. One of my favorites. It's like perfectly lined up. Are you see it and then I can only assume that you've walked over to line yourself up with these people and that sunshot. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was like further around the rocks and I timed it like I knew I wanted to get a shot from the beach. So just like get it on that kind of edge of the rocks.
Yeah, the edge of the rocks, like the edge of this person. At this time, I feel like the sun goes down kind of fast. So you only got a couple minutes. So when you sit in here like, all right, I'm rolling for 15 minutes because the sun's going to go down and just get what I get.
I don't think I was there long before that. I timed it pretty well, but I was on the coast. I was just around the corner, so it might have been like a 10-minute walk. So I knew like I had to climb over this massive rock on the left. So I made it just in time. But the sunsets on that beach are crazy, man. Every day.
This is crazy. Did you specifically pick this spot?
So this was like a place that you passed through, I think, on the way from a place called Oaxaca. Then stayed 2 nights in this place, which is like super high up in the mountains, and you can get crazy sunsets like this. But sometimes it's just like cloud, and it was actually super, super cloudy. Like we were down in our Airbnb, and we just thought, oh, it's just going to be another washout kind of thing. And then it started to look like that. Rushed up to this hostel, which is like high up, caught the sun going down, and then carried on going higher. And then the clouds just sat like that until it went dark, and it was like the most insane sunset I've ever seen. This is actually on iPhone.
This is on the iPhone.
Yeah.
Dude, that's what iPhone is it? I feel like I
Uh,
never 15.
15 Pro, yeah. And I think I like went into the Blackmagic app and shot it on log because I didn't have an ND for it. And I was like, wait, I can actually probably, because it's quite dark, I can just shoot this at like the settings I want. And it came out really nice. I don't think you can, it
What?
graded well.
And then this. Yeah, like the perfect bird shot too. Here.
Yeah, I was waiting for that bird.
I was just gonna ask. It's funny because like I got my notes here, and I'm like, ask him about the bird. Were you looking at it, and you maybe saw a couple of birds, and you're like, okay, let me go stand there and just catch this one bird or like a couple birds? Yeah.
I think there was quite a lot of people trying to get into that spot for the shot, or people might have been started to leave. I think I had to wait for like loads of people to leave just so I could do it. Yeah, when I saw that bird, it just like it gives you a bit of action.
It does. The tracking, you tracking it as well.
I look for birds all the time now. I think it came from because in the Snowdonia one, when I'm walking out right at the end, I think it's the like a crow like goes over my head. So I like see it coming, and I like timed my walk.
What? You timed your walk like
I kind of stood there and I could like see it.
you're a bird whisperer. This is.
Or I might have heard it. Yeah.
Did you emphasize the sound of that bird?
Yeah, that's not the sound of the bird.
Yeah, I was like, did this guy have a Rode mic on the bird? So this is interesting to me. This POV shot, but like the style, the handheld up the tree into this, and then the no green here, just like kind of bringing out the reds. What was the choice between those like shots?
It was a bit late in autumn. There's quite a lot of green. I wanted this to be a really like orange video, but ended up being really green. So I kind of lent into that a bit more.
Yeah.
But yeah, these probably pushed this quite a lot.
So this sequence, I think you having a drink, but then obviously showing the two of you here. This is what I was talking about when it's like, yeah, you're solo tripping, but it's like you're almost in your own mind, or you're like, this is the only person I have, which I thought was cool. So I was like, oh, this is interesting. And I think even just the choice of shots, the acting part of it too. Do you find that it is a lot of performance for some of this? Like, oh, I have to look like I'm really thinking about something. And like, let me take a sip. Let me pound this drink. Or are you actually one of those people who are like, nah, let me really enjoy this moment. I'm going to record for 15, 20 minutes and then just.
I think I tried a few different angles of this shot. As you can tell, I've nearly drank my pint.
Yeah, that's why I was like, this guy might be hammered right now. This is amazing.
I found that shot. And then I think I sat there for a bit, had a few sips, checked my focus because I was really happy with how this shot turned out.
Yeah.
Just those two lamps up there just look sick.
And like the light, the way it kind of disperses. It's like this. And the
just
color,
the window. Yeah, it looks like a set. Like it just looks sick.
It does.
It was a really, really cool pub.
Yeah, dude. Well,
that's awesome, bro.
I
really
appreciate you,
it, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you doing this and wanting to do it and supporting like the content from last year, man.
No, thank you so much, bro.
If you guys enjoyed this episode, I'm sure you guys will like this one.